different from right. Ms. Boehner told supporters the Republicans would go over every item in the federal budget to target programs the government cannot afford. So what else can we expect? Let's ask our panel. Christopher Hahn is a former aide to New York Senator Chuck Schumer, and Justin Safey, former policy advisor and speechwriter for Governor Jeb Bush. And Justin, John Boehner has said the GOP-controlled House is on probation. True, right?
Yeah, it is true. Incoming Speaker Boehner was part of the GOP leadership in 2006 when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker. So I think he understands and knows what it feels like to lose power. And I think he's going to be guided by the fact that he lost power. He's got a second chance. He's not going to want to squander it.
Yeah, I mean, the rap, I guess, Christopher, Nancy Pelosi, was that Nancy Pelosi wanted these big-ticket legislative items, right? And that John Boehner is not going to go down that road. And Pelosi was willing to exchange jobs of members of the House for those big-ticket items. I mean, is it your sense that he really is going to be the anti-Pelosi?
Well, you know, I think for him to be the anti-Pelosi would be for him to not position himself to be the target of the Democratic campaign 2 years from now, as Pelosi was this year, and as Newt Gingrich was back in the 90s. What he wants to be is a guy who kind of makes the deals behind the scenes and keeps his troops in line, which is always easier for Republicans. They're more likely to do that. He's got a big challenge, though, ahead of him. He's got a freshman class that's going to be very rambunctious, and he's got some chairmen like Darrell Issa who are going to want to go on witch hunts against the president, which is going to force him to kind of keep these people in line and calm them down and not go off the reservation in such a way that these Republicans are seen as not doing the people's work. Yeah. That said, he wants to cut budgets, and they just spent the last campaign scaring senior citizens about Medicare and Medicaid, so they can't touch that. They're not apt to touch defense spending. All they've talked about is something that's 0.3% of the budget, and that's earmarks. Well, I don't know where he cuts.
He makes a good point, Justin, because he's talking about this rambunctious group. The Tea Party is going to have a huge chunk of momentum going into this session.
Absolutely. Look, the Tea Partiers are where America is. They're the ones that help propel a pickup of over 60 Republicans in the House. And I know that a lot of the Democrats are fearful of what the Tea Partiers and those who got elected to Congress with support from the Tea Party. But you know what? That's the American people. That's their voice. That's what they spoke. And I think that's something that Democrats and Trace are going to have to get used to.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Trace, let me make one thing clear. Where America is they expect Congress and the president to work together. Where the Tea Party is to dig deep and not compromise. If that's what they do, they get nowhere and they are bounced out in 2 years. And if they insist on just bickering and fighting, it's going to be even worse.
Well, there's a great deal of pressure, though, on Republicans to cut spending, though. Right? There's a great deal of pressure on
this. Oh, absolutely. There's a great deal of pressure.
Go ahead, Christopher.
On both sides, pressure on both sides to cut spending. I agree with that. But there's going to have to be compromise to do that, and not this bickering that we've seen, and not these hard lines that a lot of the Tea Party leaders are forcing Republicans to take.
I love the irony of a Democrat talking about hard lines. We saw Speaker Pelosi draw a very hard line when it came to health care reform, and we saw the Republicans in the last few weeks make peace with President Barack Obama, compromise with him on extending the Bush tax cuts for an additional 2 years. I think that you're getting a taste of the bipartisan compromise that we can see over the next 2 years. And I think Republicans are shown they're willing to come to the table. They're willing to work with President Obama when he agrees with where the American people are.
Justin Safey,
the health care bill was an absolute. The health care bill was an absolute compromise.
Oh, he snuck the last word.
No public option, no nothing like that.
Gentlemen, it's a good debate. We're going to find out in the new year. Happy New Year to both of you. Thank you for coming on.
Happy New Year to you too, Trace. Thanks for having us.
Well, as we said, we are coming up on New Year's Eve.